again, and welcome to another Mordian Glory bolt action video. In today's episode, I want to talk about the best starter armies for bolt action 3rd edition. And this is not based on any old speculation, for I have in my mortal hands a copy of the bolt action 3rd edition rulebook. Big thank you to Warlord Games for supplying me with that and giving me permission to talk about it. And I've been perusing through those rules and I've been seeing some real spicy meatballs in there. And so what I want to do in today's video is go through a couple of starter armies that I think you will be very interested in getting your hands on and why I think you want them for 3rd edition. This video is aimed at both new players getting into bolt action for the first time with the new edition and also veteran players who are maybe looking for a steer in the right direction on how to get ready for the new bolt action meta. And so without further ado, let's not mess around any further. Let's fix bayonets and charge right into today's episode. Attention, guardsmen. My ever salty partner in crime, Admiral Simon, has got an important announcement for you.
This September and October, I am doing a charity walk along the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. We'll be raising money for 2 fantastic charities, our local hospice, Halton Haven, and also the Pink Ribbon Foundation that raises funds to combat breast cancer. As I hate camping, walking, and will be shitting in a bucket for 4 days, I will be particularly salty and would value any support you can give us. Please click the link below for our Just Giving page. Thank you very much.
You heard the man, it's for a good cause, and you all know Simon from the battle reports. That's all for now. Move out, conscripts. First things first, I want to say a huge thank you to Warlord Games. They have been amazing at getting me early access to the new bolt action rules and miniatures, and have just gone above and beyond the Call of Duty in terms of supporting the channel. So a massive thank you to them for not only giving me rules and miniatures, but also giving me permission to talk about them as well, because I am super hyped for 3rd edition bolt action, and I want to bring you all along on the hype train with me. And our first stop on said hype train is going to be the first box set that I recommend for 3rd edition, and that is going to be the Battle of the Bulge. This is the new starter set that is being launched with 3rd edition, and you can pre-order that now. Now, I don't want anyone getting all skeptical here and saying, oh, Mordian, you're just recommending that because it's the new bolt action starter set, Warlord Games, pulling your strings. No, nothing like that whatsoever. They've not given me any direction for this video. I've looked at the rules. I have looked at the bolt action Battle of the Bulge starter set, and if you are brand new to bolt action and you want to get into this game with a friend, this is fantastic. At first glance, you might think that with the Americans getting access to a vehicle and more infantry than the Germans, that this starter set is imbalanced. But as crazy as it might seem, it's not. I actually think this is going to be a very tight box set, and I think the Americans might be in trouble with this one. And the reason why I think that the Germans are looking very spicy and will more than be able to keep up with the Americans is because they have access to a huge amount of automatic weapons on the new Winter Fallschirmjäger sprues. On each sprue of 6 models, there are enough assault rifles to equip every single man with either an STG-44 or an FG-42, both of which are assault rifles and have the same rules, or you could equip up to 5 of them with SMGs. And the reason why having access to so many assault rifles is a big deal, and SMGs to a lesser extent, is because of how 3rd edition has changed the environment. If you had a German soldier with an assault rifle in 2nd edition, then what you would normally find is that they would be hitting at long range because it only had like an 18-inch range, and then there would be also the fact that the enemy could be behind cover, and so then if they went down, you'd be hitting on sort of 6s followed by 6s, and so you could have a very expensive soldier which struggles to actually even get pins on the enemy. But now in 3rd edition, you have got a German Fallschirmjäger, you've got an elite veteran who is not going to be suffering a movement penalty because he's going to be having an assault rifle. That is the same as 2nd edition, to be fair, but you're not going to be having that movement penalty, and you're not going to be having that range penalty, and down and cover no longer makes you worse to hit. Your opponent just gets their cover save. So that means if you don't have any pins on your German unit, you're hitting on 4s. So you've gone from a situation where you'll be hitting on 5s and 6s, best case scenario, to typically, hitting on 6s followed by 6s. And now you're in a situation where your elite Germans are going to be hitting on the enemies on 4s. Worst case scenario, if you've got a pin on you, you're hitting on 5s. And each one of these troopers is putting out 2 shots. So you're getting a lot of firepower at a perfectly acceptable range now, because 18 inches isn't long range. 8 inches is just your range now. And you're able to, even if the enemy is going down and everything, you're forcing them to go down. That's dice out the bag. Yes, they might not take many casualties because of cover saves and everything, but you're still achieving something because you're actually hitting them, which allows you to stack pins onto them. So having so many automatic weapons makes you very maneuverable, and also really ups the amount of volume of firepower you're putting out from these units. And also, because of the way to hit and everything has changed, you're always getting results from them. On top of this, Tough Fighter has changed in 3rd edition, where now it gives you full rerolls to hit. And let me tell you, that makes it phenomenally deadly, especially in defensive operations, where if the enemy charges you and you are behind a barricade, a defensible position, you will get to strike first as the defender with full rerolls to hit, essentially crushing any assault before it even really gets off the ground. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, if the Germans are so good, does that mean this boxer is imbalanced and the Americans are the ones that are going to be screwed? Not at all. Firstly, if you want to try and keep pace with the Germans on automatic weapons, you do get 4 SMGs on each sprue of 6 men. And you also get a BAR. Now, what's interesting is in the bolt action rulebook, when we look at US regular infantry squads, they can now take 4 SMGs per squad. So you're not getting a whole bunch of SMGs you can't use. You can absolutely build all of them and use all of them. If you want to go maximum DACA on the American front, you can do that. Or if you want to go down another route, you could give every man a rifle, because the more riflemen you have, the more extra shots that you get from your national characteristic, fire and maneuver. And very interestingly, you can pay 1 point per man in a regular US infantry squad to have Tough Fighter. So there'll definitely be some ways of getting a few extra shots and getting good combat capability and not having to spend a whole bunch of points on a lot of SMGs. So bringing all of this together, I think Battle of the Bulge is a great starter set for 2 people looking to get into more action, because you're going to get 2 very distinctive feeling armies. The Germans are going to be about quality. They're going to have all of the gear, but they are going to be in relatively small numbers. Whereas the Americans are going to have quantity, but they're also going to have a bit of quality of their own. And they're going to throw that interesting dynamic in there by having a pinch of armor. But I don't think that Greyhound is going to be dominating any starter battles with this set. There are plenty of Panzerfaust that the Germans can get their hands on, which are really going to throw a spanner in the works. Whilst this box set may on the surface look a little one-sided, I think when players start getting to grips with it, they will find that actually it's going to be a really, really cool and really fun starter set with the battles that can go either way. However, Battle of the Bulge is very much the tip of the iceberg, and once you have played a few games of it, you're probably going to want to expand your army, whether you're looking at getting more Germans or going into the Americans. Or perhaps you're looking at getting into this game on your own and you don't need the dual armies of Battle of the Bulge, or you're a veteran who is looking to get half of Battle of the Bulge and then maybe expand it into a new force. Whatever reason you have, I've got a few more starter armies that I think are very, very good jumping off points, whether you're looking at getting into this game solo or expanding your Battle of the Bulge start. So beginning with the Germans, A very natural expansion point could be the German Heer Winter Starter Army. Now, if you've got Winter Fallschirmjäger, getting Winter Germans, it kind of makes sense, right? Everyone's going to be running around in that cold weather gear and the army's going to look really nice together. You're also going to get a buttload more infantry, and you're going to get some support teams like medium machine guns and medium mortars, and you'll also get a pinch of armor with that Panzer IV. However, whilst I think aesthetically this army is absolutely the way to go, and I can personally attest to the quality of the sprues that you get and the amount of equipment, loads more STGs and stuff available in this kit, I don't think it is necessarily the best one. And that is because it only gives you one tank and it gives you lots of infantry. But if you're coming off the back of this from Battle of the Bulge, you're already going to have a fair amount of infantry. You're going to want something that can really fill in some other areas that you're lacking. You're going to want a bit more armor and you're going to want a bit more weapon teams. As a result, and even though it might be a little spicy and a little hot, I have another starter army to recommend. Now, for YouTube monetization purposes, I can't actually say what the starter army is, but let's just call them the Angry Waffle Lightning Germans. So the Angry Waffle German starter army comes with a Tiger 1 and a Stug. It comes with a few more infantry, but you also get 3 weapon teams. This starter set is going to have loads of tanks, which is great because you can take multiple tanks now in 3rd edition, and it's going to fill in the gaps more effectively on the weapons team side of things because you're getting not only an MMG and a medium mortar, but you're also getting that big anti-tank gun as well. And of course you're getting lots of infantry, and the Angry Waffle Germans do get lots of STGs and other automatic weapons for your infantry, which, as we've said, are very, very good this edition. But if for whatever reason you don't want to get the Angry Waffle Germans, which is totally understandable, by the way, not everyone has to like them and not everyone wants to separate the history from the models, that's okay. Some people won't mind collecting Angry Waffle Germans, some people will mind collecting them. That's all right, as long as we're all playing games together, having fun, that's the main thing. Collect what models you find personally more interesting or personally more palatable. And if you are in the camp where you're like, I don't want the Angry Waffle Lightning Germans, then what I would recommend is the German Grenadier starter army. This is going to give you some more infantry to bulk out your army, and you are going to get access to lots of STGs and also SMGs as well. So just like the other starter set, your infantry will be well fleshed out with all the equipment that you need, but you also do get 2 vehicles in here. You get a Stug and you get a Puma. In many ways, this starter set might end up being the better choice anyway, because Tigers are a big investment. Even though the points have come down significantly, they're still a big investment. So this will allow you to have lots of armor on the field without spending too many points on it. But also, the final thing which makes this good is, again, it really looks after your support teams. You're going to get that MMG, you're going to get that medium mortar, and you are going to get that big gun. And as crazy as it may sound, if you are looking to really invest in Germans, they're going to be your main faction. Honestly, you couldn't go wrong with getting both start sets. You could get Battle of the Bulge German half, then get yourself the Angry Waffle Germans, then get yourself the German Grenadiers, and you're going to have loads of MMGs, loads of medium mortars, all the infantry with all the different options you could possibly want, and you'll end up with 4 tanks and 2 big anti-tank guns. So maybe it's not a case of either or. If you're looking long term, both of these sets will be fantastic. And of course, the Winter Germans, if you're looking for that aesthetics, is something you could throw in there, either or as well. But that's enough about the goose-stepping morons. Let's go over to the allies and look at the starter armies I would suggest for them. Whether you are looking to get into bolt action standalone or you're looking to expand your winter US army, you cannot go wrong with the US Army starter army. Truthfully, this very well may be the best starter army for 3rd edition. Across all the factions, across all of the sides, this might be the best one. Not only does it come with 36 infantry, which are going to have SMGs and BARs and all the bits that you need to make good US infantry. But you're also going to have a huge accoutrement of support teams. Number one, you're getting 2 MMG teams. And MMGs have had a real step up in 3rd edition. And all those MMG teams that you've got sat in your pile of shame right now, if you're a veteran player, get building and painting them. You're going to want them. They put out a lot of firepower, they're cheap, and they can't be sniped anywhere near as easily as they used to be able to. They actually require your opponent to put some effort into killing them. And you get 2 of them, which is great. But you know what's also great? HE. Do you know what this starter set comes with? 2 forms of proper HE. You get the quintessential, ever awesome medium mortar, and you also get the US Army 105mm artillery as well. So you get double MMG team and you get double HE and you get all the infantry. But wait, there's more, because you get 2 vehicles too. You have a Sherman and you have a half track. Now Shermans are so good. They're so good. I mean, time will tell. But right now, first impressions I'm getting from Shermans is they're awesome. You want a veteran Sherman because it's going to be just driving around, slinging shells out, hitting people on 4s, no problems whatsoever. Because it's going to be gyro stabilized, it's going to have the medium anti-tank gun, it could be hit on 3s. It's just good, and it's still cheap. The Sherman is, even when taken as veteran, can still be very, very cheap. And therefore, you can end up taking multiples of them, or you can take one and still have plenty of points left over for other armor. Now, bear in mind that unlike when we were looking at the German starter sets, where we were like, okay, they're starting with no armor whatsoever, whether they're coming off the back of Battle of the Bulge or they're, just starting with a certain army, with a certain starter army. The Americans, especially if they're coming off Battle of the Bulge, already have a vehicle in the bank. You're going to have that Greyhound. So if you were to combine Battle of the Bulge with the US Army starter army, you're going to have in your motor pool, day one, a Greyhound and a Sherman and a half track. And then you're going to have 60 infantry. So that's all. You're not going to need all that infantry. But you're going to have 60 infantry. So that gives you lots of different weapon options and variety to keep things fresh from game to game. And then you're going to have 2 sources of HE, and you're going to have 2 MMGs as well. Honestly, I think that combination of the US half of Battle of the Bulge plus the US Army starter army very well may be the strongest take-all-comers start that a player can have to Bolt Action 3rd edition. But here's the thing. A lot of the starter sets that I have been suggesting might be somewhat pricey, especially if you're getting into this and you're not sure you're even going to like Bolt Action, you just want to dip your toe into it, or you've never tried tabletop wargaming before and you're not sure if it's going to be for you. If you're looking for a starter set which will allow you to play the game, learn the game, but at the same time not break the bank and have some pretty relevant units for the new edition, then let me present to you the US Airborne Starter Army. This starter set comes with 36 plastic infantry, which you can build with a variety of automatic weapons like SMGs and BARs, and so you can make sure they are equipped effectively. And you also get 4 US Airborne HQ figures, and these are of metal, so essentially you get 40 infantry in this box. On top of that, you get a lot of cool weapon teams. You get a 50 cal heavy machine gun team. All the starter armies we've looked at up until this point have been medium machine guns. This one's got a heavy machine gun. That's important. We'll circle back around to that in a moment. You also get a medium mortar team. As we said, that's very useful. And you get an anti-tank gun, which even though this starter set doesn't come with any tanks of itself, at least you have some weapons that can counter enemy tanks. Now, going back to HMG team, I think 3rd edition, we're going to see a bit of a heavy machine gun meta, especially at the beginning. This is because heavy machine guns can now put pins on both inexperienced and regular vehicles. It doesn't matter if the enemy is driving a King Tiger down the road at you. If you've got a heavy machine gun team, even though you can't damage it because of the rules changes in 3rd edition, you can put pins on it. And so your heavy machine gun is very valuable. It also allows you to be able to wound veteran infantry and stuff like that, especially if we're going to be seeing a lot of Bolshevik at the beginning of the edition with Battle of the Bulge. It's just good at scything down infantry now that it's got more shots, and it's good at pinning up vehicles as well. And furthermore, if you're someone who is looking at getting into the US Airborne because you just love like TV programs like Band of Brothers, or you've had family who served in the 101st Airborne, which can be a huge pull towards someone collecting a certain army, then the great thing about the US Airborne Starter Army is you could buy a couple of these things. Buying 2 of them would give you all the infantry you needed. You'd have double HMG teams, which is very spicy, and a couple of medium mortars and lots of anti-tank as well. And then you could go a step further and get yourself a platoon of Shermans and really start reenacting a Battle of the Bloody Gulch style army list with your collection. So that covers the main and best ways that I think you can get into Bolt Action 3rd edition. But of course, we haven't covered every single faction. So I want to throw a few hot takes out regarding the British, the Japanese, and the Soviets, and the best way I think you can start those armies with the new edition of Bolt Action. Starting with the Brits, pretty much any of their starter armies are a good call. You're going to get lots of infantry. You're going to get good equipment on those infantry. You're going to get a lot of weapon teams. It just depends on how much you really want to spend, because Brits have got some good entry-level ones, like the Airborne and the Commandos, then some pricey ones with some more options, with like the British and Canadian Army. What I would recommend is pick the starter set that you like the look of, and then go and find yourself a troop of tanks, or platoon of tanks. Get yourself a troop of Matildas, or Shermans, or Cromwells, because you'll have the infantry from your army, and then you're going to flesh that out with a big whopping chunk of British armor. I think that'll do you very well for 3rd edition. As for the Soviets, I would get yourself the Winter Starter Army and then a platoon of Soviet T-34s, because then you'll literally have all of the tanks and infantry you'll ever need. Unless you're feeling a bit fruity, and you could go for a couple of boxes of Siberian veterans, which come with infantry, and you also get characters and machine gun teams, and then add the T-34s to that. Last but not least, we have the Banzai Boys, the Imperial Japanese Army. Now, they only have one starter army, which is the Imperial Japanese Starter Army. And if you're looking at getting into the IJA for 3rd edition, I would get 2 of those. You'll get all the infantry you'll want, and you'll get lots of medium machine guns and medium mortars, and a pair of Chi-Ha tanks. And I have a bit of a hot take here, but I think that howitzer wielding cheap armor spam from the Japanese could be quite powerful. Could be a sneaky skew list there for those competitively minded, meta-orientated people. If you really wanted to be efficient, maybe just a box of infantry and a Chi-Ha platoon might get you the same effect a little bit cheaper. But you would miss out on the weapon teams then, which is something I don't think you should overlook. But there you have it. My personal hot takes and recommendations for the best ways of getting your armies together and starting Bolt Action 3rd edition. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Which starter army do you think is going to have the best bang for buck and be the most relevant for the new and exciting edition of Bolt Action 3rd edition? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously, guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.